Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back to my existing subscribers. Today I want to talk about some of the easiest DLC operators that you can get in the game and how they can impact how you play and pretty much give you a starting point if you're aiming to spend that 25,000 renown in a very smart way. Now, this is a follow-up to my last video, which was just non-DLC operators, pretty much the ops that come with the game. And now I want to touch base on some of these DLC ops that will be more for later on down the line if you're a newer player, or if you already have the game and you're looking to unlock somebody new, then we'll start there. Alright, so this person, we're going to start with the defense this time. This person is somebody that would not have made the list until I started using them via terrorist hunt, and it's Maestro. Maestro is becoming one of my favorite defenders because of his LMG and his evil eye. So what I like about Maestro is that if you put your evil eye in the right place and chances happen that the defenders or the attackers don't have like an ash or a sledge or somebody with grenades that will destroy it, then you can destroy Habana pellets, you can destroy thermite charges, you can destroy drones, and pretty much any enemy equipment that they may want to use. So Maestro is very useful when it comes to that aspect. His LMG has 82 bullets and it does decent damage. I think it does like 34 damage. So it comes in handy when it comes time to clutch. And you'll see a couple clips here where I clutch with Maestro. And he's just a pro at it, especially once you get his recoil down. The reason I didn't like him in the beginning is that he had a lot of recoil. So I would definitely recommend that you go into terrorist hunt and learn the recoil pattern, because that's going to help you benefit more from Maestro. Other than that, let's go ahead and talk about the second defender. So the next defender we're going to talk about is going to be Vigil. Vigil is the new king of roaming. He has a really good ability as far as being able to go invisible on drones. And the benefit of that is that if you're roaming and you get in a situation where you get impinged and there's a lot of people droning out, then you can just turn it on. The cool thing about it is that the defenders in certain levels won't know if you're above or below them. So that's an advantage to you because they're going to be looking for you and you're going to be either above or below. And as long as you're not making a lot of noise, the drones can't hear you. And just time it, because they shorten the span that it's active for. And he also has a really good gun with very low recoil, so you can afford to put an angled grip on it, so you get just another bit of an advantage on your opponents. So Vigil is, like I said, that new king of roaming. He's got impacts, he's got a good ability, and he's pretty balanced as far as the game goes. So definitely want to throw him up on that list. Last defender I want to talk about is going to be Lesion. Lesion is very good because his traps are like his goo mines are like the UAV of Rainbow Six Siege. If you plant them down all around the map, then you can notice that once you hear them go off, A, the little white logo above them goes away, but B, not only does it take a little bit of damage away from the enemy that steps on it every second, so they're going to have to address it at some point, which lets you be the aggressor, but like I said, you know exactly which one went off. And if you have a roamer that's flanking or roaming around that area, you can tell them exactly where it was. Plus the audible noise that it makes is very loud. And you can use it in very creative ways, such as stacking 3 or 4 of them at a doorway, and let's say somebody's weak and they run in, pretty much insta kills them because they just did 30 damage off stepping just off of 3 of them. And I've seen a couple times, but this takes a little bit more finesse, a little bit more practice. But on the other end of a frost mat, now for the frost, it's going to have to be pretty much like a sacrifice. But because it's the Lesion that's going to get the kill. But if you're playing as a team and it doesn't matter who gets the kill, then that's another good strategy you can do. Frost mat with a Lesion on the other end of it, so that if they step on the mat, they automatically die when their feet kicks past the Lesion mine or the goo mine. And because this is a DLC operator video, I want to touch base on just a couple honorable mentions. I just mentioned Frost along with Lesion, but another good defender that I would definitely look into, and I'm not going to go in depth with her, is Valkyrie because of her cameras. And you might also want to look at the new Echo because Echo gets more utility now. And lastly, if you want to have a lot of fun, a fun defender but is not that useful for the team, is Alibi. Now let's talk about the attackers. So best attacker, in my opinion, for somebody starting out or somebody that's looking for somebody new for 25k renown is going to be Zofia. That is the best DLC operator. She's a beast. She's got an LMG, which does decent damage, especially after the LMG buffs that they gave. And she's got an AR or a AK that is just, it's awesome, man. I can't stress how much it is a good gun. So does really high damage. I think it's like 47 damage. It's got an angled grip. It's got vertical grip. I don't know how else to explain it other than it's just awesome. And I feel like she is actually a better choice than Ashe if you're a solo queuer, because she has so much utility. She's got the concussion grenade, she's got breach charges, claymores. She's also got the pretty much grenade launcher that Ashe has, but at a smaller span, so it makes like holes that you can jump through. So definitely want to look at Zofia. She's definitely the best money for your or the best operator for your renown. The next attacker I want to bring up is Jackal. He's not a very used operator, which I don't understand why. However, if you're a solo queuer, or even if you work as a team, you can use Jackal in conjunction with other operators. And to me, he's like a poor man's Buck. Buck's AR is very hard to control, although his shotgun attachment makes it a very powerful weapon for opening lines of sight and, you know, creating havoc underneath and above, right? But at the same time, when it comes time to shooting enemies, you'll need a lot of practice to get his recoil under control. Whereas Jackal's gun has almost no recoil, has about 47 damage or 43 damage. And his shotgun is very similar to Sledge from my original Attackers video. So he has all these shotgun rounds, which if you're just shooting an unreinforced hatch, it'll pretty much open up a hatch at the right angle with one shot. So you can pretty much open up as many lines of sight as you need throughout the game. On top of, it's a gun, so the advantage of if somebody runs up on you, and let's say it's a cavi and she's just sprinting at you with her silent step, you can get that one lucky pump shot into her and get that kill. So Jackal is definitely somebody you need to look into, because he's a very useful but underused operator. And when it comes time to, let's say for instance it's a 2v1 and you need to flank somebody, you could scan footsteps, and his ability is very useful in that instance, and also when you're using a Dokkaebi or a Lion in conjunction with him. So for instance, you're making a phone call and you start tracking the footsteps so you can see where they're running to, or you start tracking the footsteps and Lion uses his scan, and then the person is forced to move or get wall banged or run up on by multiple people. So definitely keep an eye on Jackal. The last attacker I want to talk about is Dokkaebi, and for new users, Dokkaebi is very useful because you don't have to be a top fragger to make a big difference in the match. Some people don't like her ability because she can hack all the cameras and call everybody at the same time. But if you're a newer player and you're looking for a way to impact and help your team out a lot, then following a top fragger and maybe picking up a phone and scanning for the enemy cameras is going to be the best way that you can be useful if you're not really like a very powerful player. Now, the only downside to Dokkaebi is her gun, which is a DMR, so you're going to have a decent trigger finger. I recommend some Terrorist Hunt, but she does have a SMG with a ton of recoil if you end up in a close quarter situation with somebody, and it has a high ammo count, so that will help you out a lot. Now, some honorable mentions for attacking would be Ying, because her candelas, when used properly, can blind an entire room, which allows for her to get in there with her LMG and just wreak havoc. So the downside to her is basically if anybody is even thinking about looking in the same direction as your candelas, they're blind, including teammates. So you gotta practice with her a little bit, but using her breach charge and candela at the same time is a good idea. And then I would also say Habana. So Habana is a good operator because she's like a backup to Thermite, so like a little baby Thermite. She can't make as big a hole, but she can blow up reinforced hatches. So on certain levels, you won't need a Thermite. And if you want to be a 3-speed operator, her side armor is very good. But if you want to be a 3-speed operator with a decent gun and the ability to destroy hatches, then there you go with Habana. It's also useful to blow up mirrors. So if you want to, engage and blow up a mirror from a distance that isn't, bandit tricked or has a mute behind it, then that is another way you can use her Zyro pellets. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, that's the name of her. She's got like this little launcher that shoots these pellets at things. So that is another operator that you can look into, but definitely going to be Zofia. Zofia is the best, I would say, followed by Jackal because of his gun, the stability of it, and the ability to use his ability with other operators to make it more powerful, and Dokkaebi because it's a very safe bet, and in this new camera meta, she's going to shine because you'll be able to actually scan all these cameras and go from there. So if you have anybody else that you would like to recommend, jot down your top 3 attackers, your DLC defenders, and let's have a discussion in the comment section. I will catch you guys in the next video. Be easy.